Eternals is finally here, man. Listen, first impressions, dude. Like, what do you guys think of it?
It was alright.
Kind of mid, not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. No, it's not mid. I didn't think it was mid, bro. I thought it was actually pretty cool. I just think like overall the movie it felt cool, man, to me, in my opinion.
I mean,
Like, why y'all think it's mid?
if we're being honest, it was alright. It was alright. That's really the best I could say. It was a pretty decent, solid, okay movie. It wasn't mind blowing. It wasn't mind blowingly bad. There's a little gray area where it slots in. It was just perfectly fine.
I mean, it was just something to watch, really. My opinion.
Just something to watch. I mean, hey, if that's how you guys saw it, I saw it totally differently though. But what did you guys think of the story? Like
story was alright.
Spanning,
kind of forgettable.
Forgettable.
Seems like
Did we watch the same movie?
Century spanning epic, dude.
Century spanning epic. Now, let's be real. From the trailers, I expected a lot more of them in the past doing stuff. We really only got that through flashbacks.
I think most of the film was like maybe 30% of the film was flashbacks. I think that's fine.
I mean, they did say like a small majority of it was going to be in flashbacks. Majority of it was going to be in,
I expected a lot more to be flashbacks. I expected kind of a more consistent story told through the past. What we get in the film is really just like glimpses, like moments to like fulfill the context of something that's happening in the current time, like in present.
Sometimes I couldn't really tell if we were in the past or present.
Which is, that is the problem. There is kind of a lot of hopping around. I feel a lot of the hopping kind of happens at weird spots. But
You mean to tell me that you didn't know when we were in the past or present? Because the present, they were split up. In the past, they were together. They even said, like, there was even a title that said Babylon of 57,000 BC.
One of them really confused me because it didn't say it until afterward.
Was it the sex scene?
It was before that.
But if
Babylon.
If we boil
it wasn't Babylon.
Boil it down, the story is pretty simple. You have these gods who like view humans as like unworthy, and then blah blah. They find the stuff in humanity. It's a pretty simple story, but it's told across pretty well. Which means just because it's simple doesn't mean it's bad. But like this, like I said, this wasn't like a mind-blowing story. Like this wasn't a story where I was like, "Whoa, that's amazing." It was just a pretty alright story. Like I don't have many negatives or many superb positives. Yeah. It was a pretty solid story all around. I like what they set up, and I feel like it works the best is that it's a standalone, very standalone story. Halfway through the movie, I forgot that this was even Marvel.
Yeah, I really didn't feel like it was Marvel, because it doesn't really give off that Marvel energy. Even though it is kind of structured like a Marvel film. Like, maybe 30 minutes in, I thought I was watching some like sci-fi thriller.
Which I feel like that's also a good thing and a bad thing, because as a good thing, it means you can just kind of rewatch this on your own without having to worry about any timeline stuff going on. But then on the bad side of that, it kind of feels hard to like place this inside the MCU, because like everything in this movie pretty much reestablishes the entire fundamentals of the universe that they've made so far. I guess it's just pretty much like a huge retcon of just power levels and just background for everything. So it is kind of hard to just like merge itself in the fourth phase of that said universe.
You said a retcon of power levels. How?
Power levels? Because before this movie, what's really have been a trend with Phase 4, you had power Infinity Stones, they're at the top. And then now you just have like stuff like Celestials, like just planets being destroyed on the regular. I feel like this movie really has just redefined things in terms of scale.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all thanks to the grandiose story of it all. It feels huge in scale. Everything, I mean, going down to the cinematography of Chloe Zhao, I mean, it feels huge. They're on practical locations. I think overall, I mean, just a big, it feels like just a big movie to me. And I really enjoyed it. I have not seen Dune yet, but I've heard a lot of people have a lot of comparisons to Dune and this movie.
Now,
And
as someone who's seen Dune, Davis, you saw Dune, right? You
No, not
saw
yet.
Dune. But I kind of felt the exact opposite. Like, this movie didn't feel as big as I was expecting it to. Like, in terms of what I was expecting, this is technically very small scale.
I was expecting this movie to be way bigger
Yeah.
because, in the first trailer they say from an award-winning director. This director has barely done any movies, and she's not really known for anything but this, being completely
well,
And
honest.
in terms of, like, scale, like, with Dune, like, Dune, that's, like, a big movie. Like, that's one of those cinematic events. I thought Eternals was gonna be kind of, like, a similar quote-unquote cinematic event. But, like, its scales are pretty, I don't want to say basic, but they're... I feel like the trailers overhyped the scale of this movie.
to to that fact, I kind of don't agree. I don't agree because I feel like whereas the story when the story gets huge, it gets huge. When they go big, they go home. But I like the fact that the story kind of slows down, and then you don't really see these gods. You just see people. You see the Eternals are essentially us. They're just super powered, and that's how every character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. They're just like us. They're just extraordinary. And I like the fact that she kind of takes a Man of Steel approach to each of the Eternals, and we can move into characters with this. Is that it feels like every character feels like us, and she tried to make them relatable and have relatable problems. And I like the fact that when it goes big, but sometimes you don't want to go too big every scene. And when it goes small, I think that's just when that's when the movie just sings to me. But that's just me.
Honestly, I was kind of confused just by the beginning of the movie because the way it opened as if you're supposed to know who these people are already. And I know it's supposed to negate that by using flashbacks, but even with the flashbacks, I still don't truly know these characters. I feel like they're
Yeah,
foreign.
I feel like I kind of agree with you, Dave. It's like I feel like with that opening text crawl and those first, I feel like these movies kind of force you into not these movies. This movie kind of forces you into like a certain perspective on the Eternals. Like right off the bat, you're like, all right, this is the good one, this is the conflicted one, and it's just really I don't know. I feel like the movie wasn't like there were a lot of small moments, but I feel like the movie really didn't give each Eternal a moment to shine. Like one of them really
Yeah.
just kind of dips out during the entire finale. Like he just
And
kind
then
of
he becomes
leaves.
a good
What?
guy at the end.
But honestly, from Kingo dipping out, that serves narrative purpose for the story. That served
I'm not
narrative
saying it
purpose for his
doesn't.
character. Yeah,
I know the
like
purpose.
Just because it has narrative purpose doesn't mean it makes
I
sense.
still feel like a lot of I was expecting more from like a
that's
lot of Eternals,
the point of it being narrative purpose.
Gilgamesh, Kingo, and even Druid. I feel like it focuses too much on certain Eternals. I mean, which is fine. It's just like I feel like these trailer hype this up as like, oh, we're gonna learn about this like huge family of people kind of protecting the Earth. But then again, like the movie, it wants to be big and small at the same time. Like there's a lot of like big. Obviously, you can tell like this is supposed to be like, wow, this is a cosmic moment. But it does take the time to slow down. And you can't have both worlds, I guess. But I feel like I would have preferred just a little bit more, high scale celestial stuff.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and like lie to you guys and say that each character got equal screen time. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys and say that I felt for every character, but I did feel for these characters. I'm excited to see these characters again. I want to see these characters again. It's a fun bunch, and definitely with the way that they kind of structure the characters with them basically being robot clones, they can come back anytime. Like in the next movie, Icarus is probably gonna come back as just like somebody else with just a different personality. Like he's probably gonna still be Icarus, it's just be a different personality. So I like the fact that they wrote themselves in that corner where if Eternal gets killed off, they can always bring them back due to the Celestial. And I definitely believe that the characters do deserve a little bit more screen time. Some of them do get pushed to the back burner, but that's because some of them serves a huge part in the story, whereas others don't really need to. They're just there because we have 10 Eternals. Like they're there, but they're there to hype up the main characters, as in Cersei, Icarus. These are two characters that have two conflicting ideologies about human life, that makes sense for the story. A lot of these other Eternals, they're just along for the ride, but they just make the atmosphere better.
Um, I'm not sure if I'd really say this is on that note, but I feel like some of the characters didn't have any real development, or they either started with development, they were developing in the beginning with their motives, but then the motives just kind of fell off. And this especially with Druig, you know his motive from the flashback that
Yeah.
he's sick and tired of watching the humans kill each other when he has the power to stop it. So, um, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens later on. He eventually becomes a good guy, but why does he become good guy? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. He went
Yeah,
on the bad
I
side
kind
of
of got
everyone
that from
there.
Druig. Like Druig, I like how they kind of did trick us with. They kind of teased him as like being maybe like a twist villain in the trailers, and I like what they did with Druig in the movie. Like I really liked it, but I feel like it wasn't enough. They didn't like have enough time with him to explain. All right, why does he want to protect the humans? Like, why does he feel these ways? Like he kind of just gets it, and like the scene is very good. Don't get me wrong. Like I do
Yeah.
like that moment where he's challenging Icarus. But I feel like I said earlier, a lot of the time is really just focused on developing Cersei and Icarus and Thena, kinda. But I feel like it's mainly
One
just Cersei and
character,
Icarus.
one character that had no development at all really was Makari. I didn't see any
Definitely.
development with her.
Sadly,
She didn't come into it like we just okay, we felt like we got all of our Eternals. Oh wait, we got another Eternal. Okay, and then we find her inside of the ship, and then she's brought up to speed about everything. Okay, and then she joins in on the fight. We don't really get to know much about Makari. But going to the Druid side of things, the reason why he joins the side to save the humans, you literally just said why, is because he feels as though he can, like, if he uses his powers, he can stop these people from like killing each other. He loves these humans.
and even
They
then, we only
established that
get
in the
that in
beginning,
a few lines. We get that in
but
lines,
it's
and that
already
that goes back to
though.
what I said about how this movie forces you into having these things about this character. I feel like we should have spent more time with Druig and seen his experience and maybe how seeing the humans changed him over time instead of getting one scene of the city under attack with him saying, "I can help these people."
Druig standalone confirmed.
And then
But
with a
again,
character like
with
Thena,
that though,
I feel like a character
but
with Thena, she
with that Druid thing, you are they already established that. You really don't need to keep showing it. Okay,
I feel
they
like they should
already
have.
established, but they already showed it in the beginning.
Hey,
So
and
then
I
when he
told you
comes
I'm not a
back,
fan of the way they established it.
all right, if you're not a fan of that, but still, like, you gotta understand, they already established it.
And I feel like the way they
That's
did it
why
was kind of lazy. And and
they
like David
showed
said,
us.
with characters that don't get a lot of development, Dina is one of them. While she does get her arc, thinking back, we didn't really know much about Thena except that she likes war and she's got her dementia thing going on. Her
I
arc
still
with
don't really know
Gilgamesh,
anything about her.
her arc with Gilgamesh was fine, but like I said, not a lot of these Eternals are fully fleshed out characters, and it's kind of hard just figuring out like, all right, what is this character? I like what they did with Dina, but like with Druig, I feel like there just wasn't enough time spent with them in the movie.
Yeah.
With Thena, it felt like they were kind of battling between what her character should be. They want her to be this fierce warrior, but then also they kind of contradicted themselves with trying to make her more, soft spoken and stuff like that. And not soft spoken, I meant like, some scenes she's like, breaking down and stuff
Weep's
like
the
that, and
word you're looking for.
weeping. But yeah, and then in other times she's like this fierce warrior that can go toe to toe with Icarus. Like, I gotta understand, like, she can do that, but like it felt like they were kind of contradicting themselves a little bit with her character. It felt like they were trying to battle out like what her character should be. And I do like the dementia stuff. I love all of that. I love her relationship with Gilgamesh. But besides that, Thena was one of those characters that I thought that I like her character. I want to see more of her. Let's try to rework that a little bit. The same with not same with Makari, but yeah, let's just rework that a little bit. But that's just me.
What were the monsters called in the movie?
Deviants.
The deviants.
Oh yeah. So the thing about the deviants is that at the end of the movie, after that main one died, they were completely
Yeah,
sidelined.
the alpha deviants
L
literally,
as
the alpha
villains.
deviants could have literally been removed from the story and replaced with something better. Like they set him
L
up.
as villains, bro.
They set.
Dude, I wouldn't even consider that a villain. I just consider it like maybe a grain of sand.
That's like the red herring villain.
Maybe it's more like a
It's
rock in
a
your shoe. They're just
that
it's kind of a pain, but you can deal with
I
it.
feel like the deviant plotline could have been erased with mainly just focusing on the celestial emergence thing. Because honestly,
No,
the
I
way
feel like Deviants should have been something for a sequel, not for the first movie. This
yeah,
movie has way too much going on already,
either
and if
focus
you're
on
adding something
I would have
as
that we
either
con
already
focused
don't
on the
care about,
deviants or focused on the emergence in the first movie. Like do deviants in the
as
first
can
movie, emergence in the second one.
but as canon fodder though, like we got stormtroopers in every Star Wars movie. We have Chitauri in the Avengers movies. As canon fodder, the deviants worked, and I think that it could have worked if they kind of just reworked the story enough. So then you can bring in that deviant that evolved to the point where he's talking like they did in the movie, and he has the abilities of our Eternals, but then he ends up helping the Eternals fight Icarus in the end. That would have been fine
That would have
instead of
been
just
cool.
having him show up. Instead of
Ins-
just having him show
Instead,
up
I
and
feel
then
like we
fight
kind of
Thanos.
got just kind of lazy CGI monsters. The
And
Alpha
and you know
was an
what?
interesting
You know
character.
And you also would know like what else would help is that it would also help Dina's character. Dina's whole arc is that revenge. Like she wants to kill this deviant because he killed Gilgamesh. Okay, what if this deviant helps the Eternals fight Icarus? She forgives this deviant, you know? You know what I mean? I feel like that could have worked out for her arc a little bit more, and then it would have helped out for the villain, and then it would have given a little bit more spotlight that Icarus is the big bad here. Instead, he just pops up and then dies.
to be
The
honest,
villain is L villains, man. I dropped the
was
ball on
ex-
them heavy.
I was excited thinking that the Deviants would help. What's her name? Cersei with stopping the emergence. Maybe have some allies for maybe a sequel or something like that. But no, they're dead. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
kind
man.
of like
But I love the concept of the deviants though. That the Celestials sent them there, they evolved into something else, and then now he has to send the Eternals there to protect the humans from the deviants. I like that, and I like the idea of that they're able to heal themselves now because
it
of the
makes
fact that they can
sense.
absorb their powers.
It makes sense, but they could have easily written in something else that was more intuitive and made more sense. Well, maybe not made more sense, but actually had more of an impact on the
Something with more
story at
effort.
least.
I feel like the deviants were really just kind of a lazy cop out.
Wait, not gonna lie, that's kind of a plot hole because the Eternals are essentially robots. Like they're essentially robots, right? How were the deviants able to suck the powers out of a robot?
Well, if you think any living thing is really just a robot, we're just organic
What?
robots.
But that's
Our
weird.
organs really just
Like-
function as machines. You could really refer to us as quote unquote machines.
No. But they have cybernetic enhancements.
We don't know
So
what
that's
their
different.
technology is because their technology
We do.
predates time.
But we do it. He said it.
I mean, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Literally anything flies.
Well, now it is.
I was thinking of them as
But what did you guys think of the final battle? The big CGI fight that happens in
Not
every
even gonna lie.
MCU film.
in terms of what was going on screen. I'm mainly referring to the emergence. Pretty lame, honestly. You see that like it is visually it is cool with Tiamat rising out of the water or out of the planet. That is very interesting. But
Also, one
really,
thing I never understood: what even is Tiamat?
he was the celestial
He's a-
growing inside of
He's a
the
celestial.
Growing inside of the Earth.
Yeah.
But like with having them fight volcanic rocks, I honestly thought that was kind of lame. But really, the highlight of this third act is the battle with the Icarus. The battle with the
Mhm.
Icarus was pretty cool, mainly just because you get to see Makari. That's what I feel like was the highlight of this final battle. Makari,
Mhm.
Yep.
the take they do with speedster ability is really different from everything we've seen. because you guys know the typical speedster thing. You have them going in
Everything
slow.
slows down.
You got a pop
Yeah.
song going on. But no, with Makari, they keep it fast paced. They keep it from the outside perspective, and really just watching all the Eternals, and really you get all the Eternals who didn't get much to do earlier in the movie. You really just
Hmm.
showcase their powers against Icarus, and it is really interesting. And you do feel the tension.
Fastos.
You do feel
The
the tension
fastest
with
powers.
on the background. You constantly see Tiamat rising.
Festos. I mean, third act wise, I'm getting sick of I'm getting sick and tired of these like this big CGI final battle stuff, bro. Like this is like a big problem of mine with Shang-Chi. That third act battle. I love dragons and everything like that, but come on, we went from hand-to-hand combat in the first two acts to like CGI big battle in the third act. With this one, it's like you had a lot of great ideas in the first two acts, and then we went into this big CGI battle. It's like it can't break that Marvel formula. You have something different in the first two acts, and then the third act, it just has to go through that Marvel template, and it's wild, man. I mean, listen, I like the fight with Icarus, I really do, and I like what it does for Icarus, his character, because he has a different perspective. But dang, I don't know, man. I just third act wise, man, I'm not a big fan.
I mean, all of his character development was for nothing.
What you mean it was for nothing?
It only mattered in this movie, and it will probably never matter again, unless he comes back.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Davis. I get what you're saying. That really comes back to I said it's very standalone. It is very standalone. Like a lot of things happen in this movie with the third act that you think would be like very world-changing events. You don't hear anything from any of the other Avengers, any other really like cosmic being or anything. Like you literally had a whole entire being rising out of the Earth's crust. No mention of any Marvel character. It's like this Eternals is in its own little universe. So that's kind of a question I found myself asking in the movie, which kind of took away my suspension of disbelief. But hey, it is a standalone thing, and it really just matters if they will reference the events in this movies and other movies. But if not, it will feel like it was for nothing. But
so
it all
I'm kind
depends
of
on what comes
confused.
after.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of Avengers who aren't on Earth, like Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's see. Well, there's really not even that many of them left. But like, what are they gonna do against something like
I
this?
said power scale.
Yeah, what are they gonna do?
There are no powerful Avengers standing.
If we're being serious, that sets up problems for the future.
There are only 3 strong Avengers left: Doctor Strange, Wanda, and Captain Marvel. We only have those 3. But still, what are they gonna do?
You're forgetting Thor.
Thor is not on Earth. That doesn't count.
Why you think Captain Marvel's on Earth?
Captain Marvel can come back at any time at the speed of light.
Plus, yeah, Captain Marvel, she probably will be on Earth with the Marvels. But with this power level thing, like they kind of set themselves up on a slippery slope because their next heroes and or villains are they're gonna have to collide at some point. So how are you gonna balance the power between regular Avengers like Sam, Hawkeye, Bucky, against celestial powers like Arisham, the Celestials, even just borderline Eternals? Like they're gonna have to do a lot of power balancing, and I feel like that might arise for some situations where you feel like certain characters are getting quote unquote jobbed. So really, it's just a slippery slope with how they're setting up these power skills. They're gonna have to introduce big players on terms of hero size, or maybe severely nerf the villains.
They need to buff these heroes, bro.
Yeah.
They're too weak. They need to make some of these characters like godlike. I mean, Spider-Man, honestly, he's completely useless in something like this. He's completely useless.
What do you think Kate Bishop's gonna do? What is Bucky gonna do?
She did first. Hawkeye.
What is Bucky gonna do? Use his arm? He has a metal arm. What is that gonna do? Like, come on, man. It's bro, I found myself laughing every time I see a Celestial on screen in this movie. Come on, like, what is Captain America gonna do? Just throw a shield at him? Like, it makes nothing. What is Mantis gonna do? Try to put it to sleep? Like, she won't do anything. But yeah, I mean, third act wise, Very cool location. I like the fact that it's practical, but yeah, big CGI fight again. I'm getting sick and tired of these big CGI fights, honestly. But what are you guys' negatives on the movie? Because I feel like you
Bro, we
guys said
kind
a
of
lot of
spent the whole
negatives
20
throughout the
minutes at the
movie.
beginning.
Yeah, but not me though. You guys did, but not me though.
Movie's trash.
uh, I definitely think that this movie bit off a little bit more than it could chew. It's a very ambitious movie, and it, sometimes they, like I said, they bit off more than they can chew, and very slow at times. I like the slowness. I
I mean,
like the
you can
slower
you can
pace, but
definitely relate that to, the past two Marvel movies have been from two directors who haven't done anything superhero related. But the thing about Shang-Chi is that he knew how to create the story because they didn't have that much going on. They had something very, very creative, and I guess you could say kind of simple. But this, especially for a director that has never done anything like this before, just hammering them with all these things and need to be in this film, I just kind of feel bad for.
For me, sitting
I
through the movie
I
in the
definitely
theater,
feel bad for her.
at times, I kind of did feel like during the very slow parts, and I like slow movies. Like, that's kind of why I like Endgame a lot, like the first half of Endgame.
Trash.
But I kind of just sat there with like, it's kind of not interesting. And I mean, I was liking the movie, but I was just kind of sitting there, just like, dang, this isn't
I
what I
was more
expected the
focused on
movie
the
was gonna
popcorn,
be.
to be honest.
I didn't have popcorn, so
I
I was
I
elbow deep, dude.
I mean, dude, I was interested throughout the entire thing. But I mean, I feel like throughout the movie, I kept saying to myself, "This is different. I'm loving this. This is different. This is different from Marvel." And like I said with the third act, they went back to that Marvel formula, and I feel like every time, because with Chloe Zhao, I haven't seen any of her other films, but I know of her other films, and I know what they look like, and I know what their stories are like. So I feel like she put so much of her DNA inside of these first two acts of this movie, and it was just this big century spanning epic romance, whatever you want to call it, morally gray, human loving, like humanity loving film. She put her heart and soul into that, and then, like in some instances, Kevin Feige just came out of nowhere and said, "Hey, wait, stop right there, stop what you're doing. Let me show you how I'm gonna do it.
with that I
You're
disagree
getting too
because
close."
I
I
feel like
I definitely believe it, man.
okay, I feel like this movie, like these trailers, they hyped it up to be this, like I said, this epic cinematic journey, like this event. And throughout the film, I just kind of felt like there's nothing really epic about this. Like it kind of just felt like another run of the mill
So
fantasy
you
movie.
didn't think Arsham the Judge coming out wasn't epic?
I said
You didn't
throughout most of
think
the movie.
learning about how the universe was created with the deviants and the Eternals? You didn't think that was epic?
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead and
I
finish.
feel like this wasn't as epic as they intended it to be. Like here, seeing arson, like those were like there are epic moments in this film, but when I think of like a cinematic like event epic thing, I'm thinking of like Dune, let me see, like Lord of the Rings and stuff, Hobbit, like really just like this big fantasy stuff. And I feel like throughout the most of it, Eternals was just a normal movie, just like with superpowered beings, like we're kind of used to. It definitely was different. It was different enough, but I feel like these trailers, like that's really what got me on board with the train for this movie. Was that it was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a huge century-spanning thing. But then I feel like the movie kind of fell short on just like I feel like it didn't deliver enough of that pizzazz to make it one of these like epic events.
Man, I feel like the stuff that was in the trailer, that was all of the different stuff. I feel like that was all Chloe Zhao. And when you watch the movie, you feel the Marvel isms, you feel the Marvel formula. And it felt like every time they was breaking away from that, every time they was going down a different conceptually smart path, they kept going right back to that Marvel formula. That's my huge negative with the movie, is that it felt different, and then every time they was going down that path, they just couldn't break away from it. They had to go back with what they knew, and sometimes that worked. In this case, judging by the Rotten Tomatoes score, really didn't. But that's only critics, not audience. But that's only critics.
I don't know. To me, this movie didn't feel as epic as they were trying to make it to be.
Do you feel as though the Rotten Tomato score is valid?
Yeah.
What?
Nah, it's too low. It's too low.
I don't know.
I'm not saying
It
this
really
deserves-
comes down.
This
People are
deserves to be
upset.
in the
It's such a
80s and
talent.
90s.
It's such a talented director was misguided into making something that isn't good. I mean, that's really all it comes down to.
I feel like
And it's not her fault.
Mhm.
It's the producers and
Kevin Feige, our Lord and Savior.
Nah, I feel like some of it
Kevin Feige.
has to rely on the director because at the end,
oh yeah,
most of it is her
some of
vision.
it definitely some of it definitely lies on her, and simply because as Sterling likes to say, the movie is the painting and the director is the painter. I
Yeah.
mean, they obviously have something in it, but the producers are the freaking paintbrush, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Characters are the paint.
I didn't see much studio
Kevin
meddling.
Feige is the paint, bro. Jonathan, you may not see it. That's because Kevin Feige is swift. He makes sure, like, he
Nah, I
leaves
feel
no
like
fingerprint.
that's a cop out just saying,
Kevin
"Oh yeah,
Feige-
don't worry about
No.
Chloe Zhao. It's mainly Feige."
No,
I feel like
I'm not
the
saying
blame
it's
is
mainly Feige,
mostly on the
but Feige
director.
dips his hands in everything.
I'm sure that
He
he
may
does,
give them permission, but he dips his hand.
but I
This
see
whole
too many
film
people just being
is his
like,
vision too.
I see too many people being like, "Oh, if only Chloe Zhao got full productive freedom, this movie would have been better." I feel like we saw, for the most part, what Chloe Zhao intended to put on screen, and the shortcomings were just what she decided to make. Now, the Rotten Tomato score, it is definitely too low for stupid reasons, but I feel like this obviously
Review
doesn't
bomb.
deserve to be one of the highest rated things, but I feel like maybe like 70, 80 range. I don't know where the scale for Marvel movies typically are, but just above mid ground, like this being the worst rated Marvel movie, no, that's not true.
I mean, we all know the word. Let me not get into it.
Yeah, let's not get into it. But what do you guys think for the future of Marvel Phase 4? Like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think this push, us
I can
more?
tell they'll be in Fortnite by next week.
Oh, definitely.
Like I said earlier, there's not much to say. I just feel like they're gonna have some huge like power scaling and stuff to do in the future, and it's gonna be hard for them to kind of continue on in this universe. For like, you can't ignore everything that happened. Like you can't ignore a celestial peering on
MCU
Earth's
will
horizon.
never be the same. MCU will never be the same ever again after this.
One more thing I want to say about the power scaling. The Eternals are kind of weak. I'm not gonna lie. They're
Yeah,
not very powerful.
basically human. They just have
Ari and
a
Drew
lot
are
of-
the most powerful ones.
Bro.
Yeah.
What are they doing in the 1v1 against Thor? What are they doing?
Well, Icarus can hold his own. Cersei
Icarus
will
is
hold
No,
her
I'm sorry,
own.
Icarus is getting bodied. Icarus is
Icarus
really not
is
that
getting-
strong.
I did not say Icarus will win. I say Icarus can hold his own. Never said he was going to
Icarus
win.
is
he
getting-
wouldn't hold his
Icarus
own.
is
He
getting
would get
swept
insta
with.
clapped.
Nah, I don't believe that. I think
Thor
Icarus,
took the
I
full
think-
dude.
might of a star.
Icarus-
Icarus
No super
willingly
strength.
killed himself and won.
Only thing he can do is fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes. He doesn't have super strength, any of that. He
Yes.
would get slammed.
He does have super strength. It's
He
just
has
not
super
very
strength.
extreme super strength.
I'd call it maybe strength.
Enhanced
That's all I'd call
strength.
it.
Bruh,
Maybe that.
enhanced strength. He's at least stronger than Captain America.
Nah,
Obviously.
I don't know about that.
But
Captain America's a human.
I feel like
Maybe on the same.
the strongest Eternals that come out of this are Phastos for his ability to create Druig and Makaria. At the end of the day, Thanos.
What? Druig?
Yeah, Druig.
Fastos.
With his ability to create, if we can really see how far he can go with that,
Wait,
he really could be one
You're
of the most
saying
powerful.
fastest. I'm saying Druig. Druig, only thing he can do is take over people's minds.
He could take over
I'm guessing-
multiple people's
what do you-
minds
yeah,
at once for
Davis,
extended
what do you
periods
you
of
have a
time.
think that's
strong
gonna
will?
exactly? What do you think that's gonna do to somebody, bro?
Bro, go ahead.
That's
take over.
That's the ultimate power ever.
Bro, really try taking over the minds of, like, honestly, I'll give it to you, like maybe 2,000 humans against Thor. Thor's still winning.
But the thing is, will Thor kill humans willingly?
That's what I'm
If they're
saying.
mind
Will he
controlled?
kill them?
I mean, it's Thor probably.
Not gonna lie, yeah, probably. Every MCU hero kills. Like
For
they
the most
just kill
part, the
for no reason.
future they need to deal with. How do they move forward with everything that happened in this singular 2 hour and 30-minute movie? And also while
Right.
maintaining the power levels displayed in this
37.
movie while not making anyone feel like they've been extremely nerfed.
All right, let's talk about these post-credit scenes. I have no idea what was going on, and
Arrows.
I don't
Dane
think I
Knight,
will.
Dane Whitman one I liked because I love Black Knight as a character.
Never
And
heard of
I
him.
and I love Blade, so
Harry
yeah.
Styles one I don't really care for because it kind of feels, that's really just all fan service.
Never heard of either one of them. Only one I've heard of is Blade.
With this movie, I expected some some serious jaw dropping post credit. Well, no, I feel like so we got the first one setting up Eternals 2, and then we obviously have Black Knight setting up whatever Black Knight's gonna be in next, and also Blade.
He's gonna be in White Knight.
But yeah, man, bro, when we were in the theaters, dude, and the dude was like, "Oh my god, there he is!" and it was just Harry Styles. I'm like, bro, this is bro, we all just looked at each other in disappointment. Like, bro, this is the guy that slept in a bunk bed with Thanos. Like, bro, come on, man. Grimace is sleeping in the bunk bed with Harry Styles. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, honestly, mainly fan service.
Yeah, and then, bro, we can hear some white girls in the back talking about some, oh my god, it's Harry Styles. Like,
the most one I'm interested for
this movie's not for you.
Is Black Knight, because those are honestly some of my favorite
Never heard of him.
Marvel heroes. It's just really normal characters with slightly enhanced powers about them.
Yep.
And Black Knight is really one of the most interesting characters in the comics. He takes a lot from Arthurian lore, which I love. So I'm just really excited to see what they do with him.
Yeah, but that's
and
kind
also,
of generic. It's kind of generic, though. Descendant of a king, that's kind of generic.
And of a king, he's descendant of Spire to the King.
With a sword that is like really big.
That sword actually has some implications if they do it right. That sword could potentially be the same sword that's severed nowhere.
Severed nowhere.
Jesus Christ. I feel like they could really do a lot of interesting things with Black Knight. And I feel like I would rather see him in a Disney Plus show than a movie as a side character. I want to see him as the forefront of something.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe after Blade comes out.
Blade. All right, bro. Like, what's you guys' conclusion? What is your ranking? Any final thoughts on Eternals? Give some advice to people. Kick him. Just kick him, bro. Anyway. Jonathan, what's your closing thoughts?
Eternals. Honestly, looking back to theaters, there is kind of a hint of disappointment, but not a heavy disappointment. Just disappointment at the thought of what could have been Eternals, like what I had in my head envisioned for Eternals. But I feel like what we got was a solid thing. It's definitely not going to be an MCU movie that I rewatch hundreds of times. I'll probably give it like 1 or 2, and then I'll put it away. It would probably be something I come back to later down the line, but at the end of the day, I feel like it was an above average Marvel movie. It's not one of the greats. It's definitely one of the most uniques. But I don't know, I feel like this isn't the cinematic event I was hoping for.
What about you, Davis?
You go next.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, like you said, definitely one of the most unique MCU films, but also definitely one of the most flawed. It's very beautifully shot, and I love all of the concepts and designs. I mean, yeah, the designs and ideas, but they dropped the ball hard with the villains. Definitely didn't like that. Very ambitious film, but they bit off more than they can chew with that third act.
I feel like they didn't fight enough.
I love the question of morality between the team. Love that stuff. I love the characters. I want to see them again. I love this cosmic side of the MCU, and I can't wait to see how they expand more of it. And I can't wait to see Arsham the Judge again. Definitely one of the great MCU films. Not up there with Shang-Chi. Not better than Shang-Chi. Probably not even cracking top 10, but it's probably right underneath there with Captain America, First Avenger, Black Widow, around that range for me. I'll say it's around there, but it's definitely not one of the worst MCU films for me.
I don't really have that much to say about it. This movie was okay, but all in all, They got a little bit too much dip on their chip, and that's really all it comes down to. And I'm hoping they do better with
Blade. Can't wait for Blade.
All right,
What
ranking.
you guys' rankings? Yep. Letter ranking. Jonathan.
No, I'm gonna go on first.
My favorite part was Blade.
my letter my letter ranking is B.
Letter. I thought we were doing numbers.
Oh, number ranking. Yeah, I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 8.3. 8.3 out of 10. I'd say it's a B.
Go.
What about you?
Oh, you going next?
No, I went first last time, Palm.
I gotta think about it. Let's see. If I had to give it a rank, I'd probably give it like maybe an 8.1.
Fair.
But
fair.
I give it that point. I give it that. Alright, just go. Actually, let me finish what I'm saying. I give it that 0.1 extra because of Blade.
I hate both of you. All right.
What about you, Jonathan?
My number ranking. It was a pretty alright film, so I'm just gonna give it an 8 solid.
8
I was
solid.
hoping this would be up in the 9s, maybe a 10 out of 10, but
Definitely.
hey, it is what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is. Pretty
But
alright.
I mean, but can we all agree that it didn't disappoint? Like, I don't think this was a disappointment. I don't even think this is Marvel's first flop. I think because it's a lower score, it makes me even more excited for the future because they're experimenting. This was an experimental thing. Like, we all knew
That's
that,
some
right?
copium right there. That's some copium
Like,
right there.
Bro, we all knew that this was going to be an experiment. We all knew that a lot of people were not.
I didn't want
like,
it to be an experiment. I wanted it to be an experience. So, and there is.
It
that
was an
aftertaste.
experience. Did you not get an experience?
There was
Hey,
an
bro, that
aftertaste of disappointment.
post-credit scene was an experience.
Blade.
I can't say I'm not disappointed, but I can't say I didn't enjoy the movie.
All right. Well, I get you. Oh yeah, what are your guys' favorite Eternals before we close this thing out?
Makari and Tina for the win.
Makari and Thena. Icarus and Icarus and Makari for me.
But actually, I don't have a single favorite Eternal. My favorite character is Dane Whitman. Black Knight. Dane Whitman.
Hey, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna hit you with a Sprite.
Sprite.
That's a band.
Bro, oh,
Bro, I just realized
bro,
we haven't talked about two characters. We
Sprite.
didn't talk about Kingo or Sprite.
Bro, we talked about King. We didn't talk about Ajax or Sprite. Okay, hold on, wait.
It's actually Ajax.
Sprite. Oh, Ajax, my belt. Sprite. She got rewarded, bro. She got awarded, dude. She got rewarded for stabbing her friend in the back, bro, because she wanted to bone a man. A 13-year-old kid wanted to bone a man,
Got
and she
jobbed. Ajax. The Ajax was the one real surprise out of any of the characters.
Ajax was like.
Gilgamesh was a real surprise.
I really liked what they did with Ajax being the mother figure to them all.
Why Ajax died?
I think Gilgamesh was the surprise death though. But yeah, I mean overall,
Gilgamesh is my favorite powers, to be honest. His powers were
just punches.
I like the way he just slaps people down to the ground. But for real though, guys, we gotta close this out though.
That kind of sounds like
What?
Blade. All right, let's end this.
All right, guys.
All right, Jonathan, you playing, bro?
That was our. Bro, I'm not playing. I'm trolling. That was our little review for Eternals. I don't know how this is gonna get cut down because this was very, very long.
Jonathan playing, bro. He needs to end this.
Yeah.
Very. Sterling's gonna have a lot of work to do. But in the end, thank you. thank you guys all for watching. And Davis, you got any last words?
Let me think about it. Last words. Thank you all for watching, and
Don't say
yeah,
it.
that's pretty much it.
Don't say it. Oh,
Hey.
don't say it.
Play. Play.